What's up, guys? This review is going to be very bare because there isn't a trailer for this movie yet or even a poster. The only thing I could find was this picture. Searching, formerly known as Search, is a thriller that's written and directed by Anish Chiganti, and it stars John Cho and Debra Messing. After his 16-year-old daughter goes missing, a desperate father, David, played by John Cho, goes through his daughter's computer to look for clues. Now, the twist of this movie is that it takes place entirely on computer screens and some phone screens. There are a couple exceptions. The reason Anish chose to do it this way is because he wanted to explore our relationship with technology in a way that film hasn't done before. Now, when I heard this, I had some mixed feelings, because initially when I sat down and watched this movie, I kind of started to think about Unfriended and Open Windows, because those films have both been shown entirely through computer screens. And because we've been plagued with a plethora of Taken films and now a Taken TV series, I was constantly thinking about that too. Fortunately, this movie was a lot better than I expected. The opening scene alone kind of got me hooked. I really understood what Anish was going for when he said he's exploring our relationship with technology. We really dive into these characters in a way that I haven't really seen in a movie recently. It truly was showing how much we rely on technology, how much we use it, and how integral it is to our communication, even to people who live in the same house as us. We really dove into this family dynamic right away, and as the film went on, you can tell that it was important to the story that the film was shown through a computer screen. Like I said before, the family dynamic is great, and I think a lot of it has to do with John Cho's performance. He does a great job for the most part. There were a couple lines here and there that he sort of repeated or maybe overacted a little, and they seemed kind of awkward and out of place. But besides that, I think he really delivered on his role of this father who's desperate to find his daughter. Opposite John Cho was Debra Messing. And don't get me wrong, I love me some Will and Grace, but she didn't really sell me on a detective. Now, maybe it's a personal thing, maybe it's because I've seen every single episode of Will and Grace, but I just didn't really buy her as a member of law enforcement. Some of the things she says and does just didn't really work for me. She had a couple convincing lines near the end of the film, but besides that, her character just kind of fell flat. Now, obviously, since this movie comes out in August, I'm not going to get too much into the meat of it, so I apologize if the rest of this review is maybe a little short or a little more vague than most of my other reviews. So getting into the story as much as I can, it was okay. Like I said before, I really loved the beginning of this film. I think it was really well written, and the way that it was shown to us was impressive. As the film went on and got more intense, the suspense and tension of the film also began to rise. But near the final act is where the film kind of lost me. It started to drop off when things became a little too unrealistic for a movie that was so grounded up until then. And there's about 2 or 3 times when the movie treats the audience like we have short-term memory loss. There's a couple instances where they have these slow reveals of certain people, and it's like, yeah, we know who these people are. You just elaborated on them 10 minutes ago. Now, after my grade, I'll get a little more into some bigger details and issues that I had with the film. Like I said before, I don't want to give away too much, because I feel like if you are going to see this movie, it's best if you go in with as little knowledge as you can. Overall, it wasn't a perfect film, but it wasn't a terrible film. I had a decent time with it. It's nothing to go rush to theaters to go see. I'm going to give Searching a C+. Okay, I'm going to talk about a couple more things, and like I said before, if you're planning on seeing this movie, I suggest clicking away because it's better to know as little as possible. But here it goes. There's a subplot with David's brother that's really good. It's really intense and really engaging. Unfortunately, it just takes about 10 minutes to come to fruition. It gets resolved fairly quickly, and then his brother kind of disappears the rest of the movie. Now, I'm not going to tell you what this subplot is, because when it started, my stomach sank. Like, I actually felt something, and I felt uncomfortable in this movie, which I didn't expect to feel anything. So the fact that this scenario caught me off guard, I was so much more invested in the film. And then it was over. And then we don't see the brother again. So it just seems like a wasted opportunity, something that could have been longer, elaborated on more, and maybe then the ending would have been shorter, which is the second thing I'm going to talk about. The final act of this film is what really disconnected me from the entire story. It became so predictable and even unrealistic at times. It just felt very tacked on and not necessary, and the movie seemed like it was a lot longer than it really needed to be. Those are my thoughts on Searching. Thank you guys again for watching. Make sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you get notified when I upload again. And if you enjoyed this, leave a like, and I'll see you guys in the next one.